So beyond any religious affiliation, I infer that Jesus Christ is a human archetype, and through all the typology of human nature, I think the individual the renunciation of the self in favor of the community and humanity and everything basically is one of the assumed behaviors, behavior patterns of human beings. And as some of us are extremely egocentrical and self-obsessed, some of us are extremely altruistic and to the extent of self-sacrificing for the good of humanity and everything else. Therefore, it's a good counterbalance for the other side that is basically self-obsessed through absolutely to the extent of implying that one can possess the ultimate truth and can act upon it, you know. So on a position of perfect on a position of perfect knowledgeability and truth, which I think in the extreme are both utopias, because we are who we are, but they are archetypes, you know, the quintessence of that human behavior pattern. So, but the whole book is a game, basically. As starts with the dance between those two characters and their dialogue, and continues with basically Ronin's book. So the whole end of the book is basically the book that Ronin writes after his encounter with this character, this Jesus Christ character, assumed Jesus Christ character.
Right.
And doing the research in quantum physics and the theory of information, I came up with the realization that, or Ronin came up with the realization that everything has an underlay of information. So it's an informational underlay that we interpret or decode through our senses as the material reality that surrounds us.
Interesting.
So I believe that in excess equals E equals mc squared, where in excess stands for the information expressed. So it's the information expressed in basically in matter, but not only, because matter is the substrate that builds. So it's the information underlays that creates a material appearance. But those patterns structuring the material, you know, the matter, structuring matter, create new algorithms that develop, and for example, in human intelligence, you know, a self-addressing point where the universe reads basically that that documentation, which is reality.
Mhm.
And more having consciousness, we can address that through free will, you know. So it's an interesting play. And when you renounce all disbelief, you renounce all, that's Paul Stamets' replica, suspend your disbelief. And that's beautiful. That's extremely potent. You know, it's like lose all your bias. You know, everything you believe, it's not true. You just believe it's not true. Everything you know it's not true. Now that it's when you have to stand, but elastic enough to be permeated by new information, new data that you will receive. So the whole book ends up being a game, you know, a game which I urge the reader to engage in and see, you know, how it ends. So at some point, everything, it's like a salad, because it's a treasure map. It's the ultimate treasure. And in the second volume, everything. So no, quite at the end of the first volume, and then the continuation of the second volume, everything, you know, just falls into place and becomes more analytical and synthetical, and it starts to grip, you know, to have a grip on the latest research, the scientific research. And I believe that I'm not the only one going on this direction, you know, and thinking on this direction. And because we regardless of who we think we are, and you know what we think as individuals, we function as a humanity. And even if you have a new idea, you're just the top of the huge wave, you know, that sits behind you, and there are lots of people on that wave, you know, and those who come up with new ideas are just on the tip of the wave, you know, driving forward and being pushed forward by everything else. Because if you're not consistent with everything, you're just irrational, you know. You're just so a lot of the latest research points to quite the same conclusions that I came up with. So for example, the self-addressing universe, a self-addressing universe. It's interesting that we don't treat intelligence, you know, as a value. So we Homo sapiens, we have to discover intelligence as a force driving this universe. And when we assume that we are the ultimate intelligence in this universe as individuals, we negate the intelligence of human society, the social intelligence. You know, we deny the existence of the intelligence of, I don't know, a biotop, an ecosystem, you know, the whole mountain functioning together and evolving in ways that will blow your mind, you know, on concepts and predicates that defy all the concepts of predicate that you can squeeze in your limited bandwidth algorithm, which is the personal intelligence, you know. the information analyzing and the information I have a lapsus. Yeah, the processing, the information processing, the information processing algorithm that is your mind, your intelligence. So there is no way to think, to even ponder on the fact that one is the ultimate in intelligent value. And it must be more. We look for alien intelligence, you know, and there is no point in finding somebody like us or a little bit advanced, you know. The next level is the next level, you know, and it's all over, it's everywhere. And yeah, it's fascinating, and it's quite novel to think of the universe as such. And in the end, everything compiles to one algorithm, because everything behaves holistically, you know, as one, same physics, same, you know. And interestingly enough, the latest, I think Microsoft was a part of that research as well. They call it autodidactic universe. So a universe able to learn. What's learning? that's very, because learning means a lot of things that you don't think of at the beginning. Learning implies intelligence, so there is no learning without intelligence, you know. And all those steps I spoke before of, you know, the documentation of the now, of where we are, the reading of that documentation and projection forward. That's learning, because they imply a self-addressing. But the self-addressing, it's obvious, because everything evolves from the muon or boson state onwards. Everything evolves, and evolves not because at that minute size of existence, those algorithms, because they are not particles, they are just bits of code. You know, they are not balls, you know. People imagine that there's balls, oof. Balls feeding other balls and everything. No. So those are bits of code, and the interaction between them evolves and complicates rationally. There is no, the second of thermodynamics. I'm not, but it evolves rationally. You know, it's, as I said, from branchia, from branchies, you know, that to breathe underneath the water, to human ear, you know, is a rational progression. There is no feathers first, or a leg, or, you know, and all those other, you know, tries. And it's it's no, that side, yeah, everybody's right. So, but that side that implies intelligent design, you know, it's right, but it's right just to the extent of now a plan, a design, but it's not design, it's a response to the previous state. Some points in the in the future are set for the evolution to go on.
Okay.
But it's in real time. It's as you and me are acting, you know, and are living our lives. Sure, you have some plans, you know, about the distant future, but the groundwork happens here.
Nice. All right. I asked you at the beginning the second question, just jumping a little bit here back to that topic. What do you hope to achieve by writing this book? I mean, what do you hope that people who read this book will do once they've read it?
Yeah. It started as an artistic expression, you know. So it's just artistic expression, because it's far from being only a novel, you know. It's just my artistic statement, you know, with like illustrations and graphic design and everything hand drawn.
Right.
So yeah, it started like that, but then, you know, a book becomes the person who writes it, and the person who writes it becomes the book, you know, because it's information. It's when you create an algorithm, it's in existence, so it will change, and first thing that will change will be you. You know. So yeah, it became a statement and more like a hope, you know, to participate to this evolution that I see as the way that the universe is living through. It's transforming that on that path. The only way, and now I understand it as, if I help, you know, the measure in which I help will solidify in reality. Any other agenda I have, and obviously I'm human, I have agendas, you know. I want to go on a yacht and fish for marlin, you know. Yes, but that agenda is questionable. You know, it will the level of uncertainty there is great, but the level of certainty to the part where I help is almost 100%. Time depending, but 100%.
You say help. Help with what?
Help with energy and good informational patterns, you know, intelligence directed towards the solutions that evolution is looking for.
Okay. So you feel like most people who will see this book and read this book are unfamiliar with what you've written, a lot of the terminology and a lot of the ideas are unfamiliar, but once they've read it, they will be able to move forward in a positive way. So your book will be contributing to that.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And um, even if I make people think about these ideas, even if it's a game that I lose, you know, and people will not be moved.
Mhm.
It's an intelligent game, and it's fun, and it's entertaining. And I'm sure in time, given time, you know, it will better what's around me.
Mhm.
It already is. So it better myself. So and that's very, very important.
Have you met any people in your life recently who are using the same language as you to explain things?
Yeah, and yeah and no, but my main effort was to make all the scientific jargon, you know, and philosophical jargon accessible for everybody.
I like that idea. Yeah. Mm.
So it's like the translation in human language. This is not English, it's human language.
Mm.
What I'm using. Yours is English. So and translating, it's like translating balls bouncing in information, pure information. You know, it's easy. Everybody can understand that.
Mhm.
You know, and if I'm coming to you with the philosophical jargon or or a German terminology, you know, I'll refer to myself and people like myself. But I want to talk to everybody and in the most common language and accessible terms possible. Yeah,
Mm.
they're extremely complex concepts and very hard to structure and point exactly so people won't interpret the worst of it, you know. It's very hard. It's like you have to be a bit of a lawyer, you know, to think, oh, they will be I will say that, but they will be accusing me of doing that or thinking that, you know. So I better rephrase it and say that.
Mhm. Another question. How do people find out about your book, and how do they order your book, or can they buy it in bookstores? How do they get it?
There is a website from where the book can be purchased, but I will wait a bit. It's a matter of days, but yeah, it will be ready. It will be ready.
Okay, nice. Thanks for talking to me today. It was great.
Well, lovely to see you, Daryl, and always a pleasure.